for me and spell your last name, please?
Joshua Motylinski. It's Motylinski.
Thank you, Judge. How are you employed, Mr. Motylinski?
I'm employed by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been employed there?
I have been employed there for 13 years.
Do you have other law enforcement experience prior to that?
No.
And do you hold all of the trainings, education, certification necessary to be a peace officer in the state of Michigan?
Yes.
Were those up to date on April 20th of 2024?
Yes.
Were you working on April 20th of 2024?
I was not.
You were employed by the Sheriff's Department, though?
Yes.
And what was your assignment or role at that time?
I am a detective. On that particular day, I was on-call status.
How long have you been a detective?
At that time, I was a detective for about 2.5 years.
Were you involved in the investigation at Swan Boat Club on April 20th, 2024 and subsequently?
Yes.
What was your role?
I received a phone call from my supervisor, Detective Sergeant Hooper. He called me to inform me of the incident and asked me to respond to the scene.
And ultimately, was a determination made of what officer would lead that investigation?
Yes.
Who was that?
That would be me.
And so you were off that day, you said?
Correct.
Were you home?
I was.
And so how did you get to the Swan Boat Club?
I got dressed in my uniform, and then I proceeded to get in my patrol car, and I drove to the Swan Boat Club.
Where is the Swan Boat Club located?
It's in Newport, Michigan, off of Branchot Road.
Is that Berlin Township?
Yes.
County Monroe?
Yes.
State of Michigan?
Yes.
All right. What did you observe when you arrived at the Swan Boat Club?
When I arrived, there were many medical personnel and police agencies on scene. When I got there, I parked my patrol vehicle and I made contact with the supervisor of the road, Sergeant Bomia. I also made contact with Detective Martin, who had arrived just prior to my arrival.
Do you know approximately what time you would have arrived?
I arrived at approximately 4:30 p.m.
Was the defendant still there?
No.
During the investigation that you conducted, were you able to determine approximately how many victims in total there were?
Total victims, there were approximately 12. Serious injuries, through my investigation, there was 5.
And you entered the Swan Boat Club, I assume, on that day?
Eventually, yes.
Okay. And what did you see inside?
Total disarray of what appeared to be a child's birthday party. There was tables, chairs thrown everywhere, food. It was just total destruction.
Did you see any remnants of alcohol at this party?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Any empty beer cans?
No, I didn't see
Empty
any.
beer bottles? Empty kegs or kegs in use?
No.
Detective, what is a medical examiner investigation?
A medical examiner investigation is a investigation done by a detective or a deputy that is trained through Dr. Carl Schmidt, who is our chief medical examiner for Monroe County. It's an investigation done by one of those people trained to help the coroner. Basically, it gives them a understanding of what happened at the scene. So it's a report prepared by a medical examiner that shows what the scene was. We take photographs, and then that report is turned over to the coroner or the medical examiner for autopsy purposes.
Is that because there's not a coroner on scene?
Correct.
So it explains to the coroner what occurred on the scene.
Correct.
And did you conduct a medical examiner investigation in this matter?
I did. I conducted 2 that day.
You did 2, one for Zayn and one for Alana?
Correct.
And what were the nature of your findings? Where was Zayn Phillips located in relationship to the crash?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Where was Zayn Phillips located after the crash?
When I arrived on scene, Zayn was in the back of the ambulance in the parking lot of the Swan Boat Club.
But as part of your investigation, were you able to determine where he was prior to that?
Yes, through my investigation, after the vehicle impacted the building, I was determined that Zayn was under the front driver's side tire. Some civilians at the party had lifted the vehicle and removed Zayn, at which point another civilian took Zayn outside and laid him in the grass right near where the hole in the side of the building was, and at which point they waited for medical personnel to arrive.
Was he pronounced dead at the scene?
He was.
And what about Alana Phillips? Where was she located?
Alana was located wedged between the door between the breezeway and the pavilion party area and the front passenger side of the vehicle.
And was she also deceased at the scene?
Yes.
Judge, I have what are marked as People's Proposed Exhibits 23 and 24. These are the MEI reports for Alana and Zayn. I think these are stipulated too, but I'll move to admit those.
People 23 and 24 are admitted by stipulation.
And similarly, Judge, Exhibits 26 and 28, I believe are stipulated too. These are the ME reports. I would move to, okay, move to.
26 and 28, people's 26 and 28 are admitted by stipulation.
Detective, I'm going to hand you Exhibit 26. Let's take a look at that. Can you tell me what that is?
This is a case summary on the death of Alana Grace Phillips.
And can you please proffer to the jury the cause and manner of death for Alana?
The cause of death is multiple blunt force injuries, and then in parentheses it says instantaneous, and the manner of death is accident.
And I'll hand you what's marked as Exhibit 28. Can you tell me what that is, Detective?
This is a case summary on the death of Zayn Isaac Phillips.
And can you tell me the cause and manner of death for Zayn Isaac Phillips, please?
The cause of death is multiple blunt force trauma, and then in parentheses it says seconds-minutes, and the manner of death is accident.
Thank you, Detective.
Okay.
And Detective, as your role as the lead investigator on this matter, were you able to obtain medical records for Mariah Dodds, Diane Medina, Leah Stith, Jaden Phillips, and Edward Smothers?
Yes.
And Judge, I believe these are stipulated too as well, but for purpose of the record, I move to admit Exhibit 34, medical records for Edward Smothers. Exhibit 33, medical records for Diane Medina. Exhibit 32 is medical records for Jaden Phillips. Exhibit 31 is medical records for Leah Stith. Exhibit 30 is more medical records for Miss Medina, and Exhibit 29 is medical records for Maria Dodds.
No objection.
All of those exhibits are admitted by stipulation.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, I have no further questions for this witness.
Cross.
When you were investigating this case generally, right? There wasn't just one section that you investigated.
I investigated it as well as multiple other detectives with their department.
Okay. But there were multiple areas that you investigated, right?
Correct.
Okay. Did you have a chance to go execute a search warrant at Verna's?
I did.
Okay. And how did you come about for information to even think of Verna's?
The information was relayed to me through the other deputies' prior investigation before I got there, that she had been to Verna's.
Suppose in a nutshell, I say, what was it based on, an affidavit, or what facts that made you think of Verna's and not somebody else's place?
I believe the defendant told one of the other deputies that she had been to Verna's.
You have to, and I apologize, you have to speak up a little bit more.
From the other deputies' investigations, she advised one of the deputies that she had been to Verna's prior to the incident.
For lunch?
Yes.
Okay. And that would have been about what time, do you recall? You based your search warrant on about what time?
Noon.
Okay. And so did you and or other deputies go out to Verna's and sort of close out the area, sort of as a crime scene?
Other deputies did.
Okay. And would that be like with yellow tape or something, or just, it's private, don't come in?
When I got there, there was no yellow tape. It was just, don't come in right now.
Okay, all right. And the search warrant in your investigation, you participated that at Verna's bar, or whatever it's called?
Correct.
Okay. And did you talk to somebody there? Was there like a Kelly Thornton or somebody?
I did not. Detective Sergeant Hooper was with me, who talked to the owner of Verna's.
And did your subpoena, were you able to get copies of any receipts that would have been in my client's name?
Through a search warrant, I got a receipt.
Okay. And what did that receipt show?
The receipt indicated that she had purchased some food and one glass of wine.
One glass of wine and some food?
Correct.
And did you get a chance to talk to anybody that waited on her, served her, such as Kelly Thornton?
I did not.
Would have Detective Hooper, do you think he did, or don't you know?
I'm not sure if it was Detective Hooper or another deputy that was already on scene.
Did you have any other proof that my client drank anything else while on the premises?
At that time, during the search warrant?
During the search warrant?
No.
Okay. And were you aware that when my client was initially interviewed at the crash scene, that she told one of the investigative officers that she had one glass of wine at lunchtime?
Yes.
And with Verna's, does that line up with what my client told the officer, with what happened at Verna's, one glass of wine? We're talking about Verna's one glass of wine.
Right.
Does that line up with, she said, one glass of wine at Verna's?
While I was at the scene?
Correct. Let me back up. My client stated at the crash scene during the investigation, you've come to learn, that she said she had one glass of wine at Verna's at lunchtime with friends, correct?
Correct.
And then when you executed the search warrant, unannounced search warrant, you pulled up a receipt from either a charge or a debit of my client's, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and it showed one glass of wine, correct?
Correct.
And it showed some chili or fish sandwich or something like that, right?
Correct.
All right, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect? No. You may sit.
Thank you, sir.
And it's my understanding you don't have any other ones.
That is unfortunately true today, Judge.
All right.